Unit 2. Provisions which regulate employer-employee relation. This unit is designed to introduce to the learners the national legal acts and the European Union provisions on the labour market and work law field. After acquiring knowledge from this unit, learners will be qualified to identify legal regulation regarding work and labour relation and track any potential changes. Use the information in their work with foreign investors. European Union. The European Union seeks to promote social progress and to improve living and working conditions for European citizens. Regarding working rights, the European Union establishes minimum standards which complement political initiatives made by EU member states. The European Union brings into force the laws, directives, which establish minimum requirements for work and employment conditions, employees notifying and counselling. However, a higher level of protection can be given to employees if a member state decides to. The EU labour law benefits the employers and the society as a whole. It gives a clear framework about the work rights and obligations, provides employees with health protection, and promotes sustained economic growth. The European Union encourages free movement of goods, services, capital and workers by the Labour Rights Act. From the Directive 2014/15/EU of the European Parliament and of the Council of 16 April 2014 on measures facilitating the exercise of rights conferred on workers in the context of freedom of the movement for workers. The free movement of workers gives every citizen of the Union, irrespective of his or her place of residence, the right to move freely to another member state in order to work there and or to reside there for work purposes. It protects them against discrimination on grounds of nationality as regards access to employment, conditions of employment and work, in particular with regard to remuneration, dismissal, and tax and social advantages, by ensuring their equal treatment, under national law, practice and collective agreements, in comparison to nationals of that member state. Yours. Freedom of workers' movement in the European Union opens new possibilities for finding appropriate employees with specific knowledge and skills. With that purpose, the web portal Yours, European Employment Service, was developed, which aims to facilitate the free movement of workers within the counties of the European Economic Area. Yours can provide employers, in particular, small and medium-sized businesses, with a personalized service to access the potential workers available in the European Economic Area, EEA. Partners in the network include public employment services, trade unions and employer organizations. Most of the jobs on the Yours Job Mobility portal come from the job vacancies databases managed by the public employment services of the countries participating in Yours. Using a technology called Web Services, the Yours search engine instantly, in real time, interrogates each national database for jobs. For all Cypriot employers that wish to advertise vacancies in Cyprus, their vacancies have to be managed by the Public Employment Services, DIAC. For more information, click here. National legal regulations. National legal regulations on which employer-employee relations and working contracts are based on a mixture of statutes and case law, as well as the Article 25 of the Constitution, which guarantees that every person has the right to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. Termination of Employment Law 24/67. The termination of employment law constitutes one of the most basic statutes in Cypriot employment law and was amended by Law 89/I, 2016. In Cyprus, protection is afforded against unfair dismissal to all employees, under the termination of employment law 24/67 as amended. The legislation covers all employees, whether in the private sector or public sector, including apprentices. Annual holidays with pay law, Law 8 of 1967 to 2005 and regulations issued thereunder. The annual holidays with pay law was enacted on the 3rd of March 1967 and entered into force on the 1st of August 1967. The main objective of the law is to secure annual leave with pay to all employees, and provide the means for better utilization of the annual holidays of the employees, especially those with low income. Social Insurance Law, Law 59, of 2010 and regulations issued thereunder. The social insurance scheme covers compulsorily every person gainfully occupied in Cyprus either as an employed person or as a self-employed person. The insured persons are classified in 3 categories: employed persons, self-employed persons and voluntary contributors. The scheme is financed by contributions payable by the employers, the insured persons and the state. The rate of contribution for the employed persons as from the 1st of April 2009 is 17.9% and for the self-employed persons as from the 6th of April 2009 is 16.9% on their insurable earnings. The scheme provides cash benefits for marriage, maternity, sickness and employment, widowhood, invalidity, orphanhood, old age, death and employment injury. Equal treatment of men and women in employment and vocational training law, number 205, 2002. This law aims at the application of the principle of equal treatment for men and women in respect of employment, access to vocational guidance, vocational education and training and the conditions of their provision, including professional development and the conditions and preconditions of dismissal. Protection of Young Persons at Work, number 48, 2001. This law covers the employment of young persons by any employer. Protection of Maternity Law number 100, 97. Maternity rights are secured through the Maternity Protection Law 1997 last amendment 2002, 64, 2002. Social Pension Law, Law 25, of 1995 to 2005. The purpose of the social pension law is the payment out of the general revenue of the Republic of a pension to individuals residing in Cyprus, satisfy certain residence conditions, who reach the age of 65 and do not have the right to pension or other similar payment from any other source. Protection of employees' rights in the event of insolvency of the employer legislation, Law 25, of 2006 and regulations issued thereunder. The main objective of the protection of employees' rights in the event of insolvency of the employer law is to provide for the establishment of a fund to cover the cost for the protection of employees in the event of insolvency of their employer. The Minimum Wage Law, Cap. 183, provides for a definition of the categories of workers covered and sets the minimum wages for some occupations. Currently, it addresses clerks, salespersons, school aides, child and infant minders, nursing aides, care workers and security guards. According to the minimum wage order as of the 1st of April 2012, the minimum salary is €870, including national insurance contributions. Foreign nationals' employment. The employment of foreign workers in Cyprus has increased greatly over the past years following the accession of Cyprus to the EU in 2004, and more importantly, the need for specialized and highly qualified staff for the many industries that over the last decade have promoted Cyprus as an ideal business environment. The procedure of EU foreign nationals and EEA member state nationals' employment is the same as for Cypriot nationals. They are equal in all rights and obligations. Cyprus employment law provides protection to foreign nationals in terms of non-discrimination. Under the employment law there is no distinction between a local or foreign worker, and, as such, there can be no discrimination in the terms and conditions of employment. The granting of work permits for foreign workers is governed by the Aliens and Immigration legislation, as well as by the decisions of the Council of Ministers and the Ministerial Committee. The competent authority for granting entry permits and temporary or permanent residence permits is the Civil Registry and Migration Department of the Ministry of Interior. All non-EU residents are required to apply for a residence and work permit prior to travelling to Cyprus if they intend to reside or work in Cyprus. Generally, the criteria for the approval of a work permit are the following. 1. Unavailability of suitably qualified local or EU personnel who satisfy the specific needs of the employers. 2. Saving and better utilization of the local or EU labor force. 3. An improvement in working conditions at the workplace. 4. Terms and conditions of employment of foreign nationals should be the same as those of Cypriots or EU citizens, and 5. In cases where work permits are recommended for the employment of foreign nationals with special skills and knowledge which Cypriots or EU nationals do not possess, the employer shall be obliged to name a Cypriot national who will be trained during the period of the foreign national's employment. Source: Habari, YI. 2015, the 2nd of November. Employment of foreign nationals specialized staff in Cyprus Lexology. More information about residence and work permit for foreign citizens, see Module 6. Complexity and broadness of national provisions on employer-employee relation are huge and demand support of a relevant professional. In most cases, it is recommended that the investor hires a lawyer, specified in labor law, when conducting an employment contract. The investor should be informed that undeclared employment is strictly controlled. Penalties like unregistered employee, employment contract uncoordinated with legislation, employees' late registrations, under minimum salary, salary and legal obligations unpayment, employment contract manipulations or even incorrect or not completely filled contract results with high fines, even after company closure.